Hi, Andy here. I'm going to lead you through some introductory work in using SolidWorks for engineering computer-aided design, or CAD. We're going to start with the basics, and then over the next several sessions, I'll lead you to a point where you can make some cool stuff. So this series of videos are intended for the UPEI engineering program. Let's get started. Here's my computer monitor. Similar to yours, it's a Windows machine. Unfortunately, if you're a Mac person or a Linux person, most CAD nowadays still works on only Windows. So there we have it. You've gone through the video or the instructions from our technical staff on how to install your own version of SolidWorks. You've got a legal, legitimate copy because the Faculty of Engineering has purchased seats for you, so you don't need to try and download a pirated copy. Get the real thing. And you can look at another one of the videos for instructions, or follow the instructions of your instructor for one of your courses. After you've installed it, you'll see that there are a bunch of icons. These 5 icons will have shown up somewhere on your desktop. Most of them we don't really use, or we're not going to use in this course. So for instance, this SolidWorks Electrical, not going to use that. SolidWorks Composer, not going to use that very much. The E-drawings, we're not going to use that. The Visualize, we're not going to use that. The one that you want is the one that just looks like the red SolidWorks block. Now, yours may say 2020. Either one, 2019, 2020 works, but as soon as we've rolled out the 2020 version, you'll want to upgrade. It just keeps your file formats secure. So let's get started. I'm going to double click this and you'll get one of a number of different windows showing up as it boots. Notice down on the right hand toolbar of your Windows machine here, it will tell you the health of your system and whether or not it kind of meets the recommended requirements. Don't worry if it doesn't meet it. It'll still work sort of, but you'll find that if you don't have a reasonably capable computer with a graphics processing unit and lots of RAM, it will be really slow. So you'll have reached a point when you're booting that you'll have this initial series of windows starting up. Now, for me, it shows up recent files I've been working on. I do a lot of work in SolidWorks, so there's a lot of files here of mine, but I'm just going to go to this icon here, which shows part for starting a new part. Now, you could also go to the file menu at the top and pick new, and if you click through, there's this for some standard templates. There's some tutorials for things. We're just going to go to the standard template for part and click OK. And if you give it a moment, this window opens up. I'm just going to expand this so it fills my whole monitor. And I'm not going to run through very much in this video about what I'm doing. We're just going to do a really simple attempt at making a part, and then in the subsequent videos I'll show you how to do that and give a lot more depth into what each of the tools are. SolidWorks is, like the name sounds, a solid design tool, which means that everything you make is like working with Play-Doh or clay. You're going to extrude and cut and whatever, but it's all working with a single solid thing. So the first task is to create a solid thing. On this toolbar at the top, there's a button here for features over on the left. And I'm going to start out with this feature called an extruded boss base. And what's interesting here is it's only giving me 2 options that are not grayed out, meaning in the context in which I'm working, there's only 2 things I can do. So if I click Extruded Boss Base, the window changes and it shows me the 4 orthographic planes. Now if I hold the center button on my mouse or the center wheel on my mouse down and I move it around, I can actually look at those planes differently. If I go to this series of buttons at the top and I click this one view orientation in the middle, I can do the same thing. I can click any one of these windows and it shows me a different view of the thing. But you can always hold the center mouse button down and hold it and revolve it around. If you've got a center wheel, scrolling it one way or the other zooms in or doesn't zoom in. Now, over on the left, when I've clicked the extrude tool, it's got highlighted in yellow, select a plane on which to sketch the feature cross-section. I'm going to go and look at the top plane. I could pick any plane. And it immediately clicks to looking at a two-dimensional view of that plane. There's nothing on it. So let's put something on it. I'm going to put a square. And I just selected the square sketch tool. So now I've drawn a rectangle. I'd like to actually know what size that rectangle is, so I'm going to click over here to my smart dimensions. I'm going to click that side and I'm going to click that side, and so it's telling me that's 136 millimeters. I don't want 136 millimeters. I want 25 millimeters. There, it's 25 millimeters. The thing is, it doesn't look any different because when you start out a drawing, it's completely unscaled in the sense that the dimensions that you enter are real, but it doesn't care whether you make something that's a mile, a kilometer, or a micron. There's no limit to what dimensions you can put in here. And the nice thing is that you can put any dimensions in here. So I put in 25 millimeters. It was my setup is default to millimeters. I could put in 1 inch just by putting in 1 in. And it knows that that's 25.4 millimeters. Now if I hold the button down, I can still look at this in different dimensions. If I hold the right button down on my mouse, I didn't want to do that. I find no matter how long I've been using SolidWorks, I always mess it up and I always do stupid things, and you will too, I hope, because that's how you learn new stuff. So through these videos, this isn't going to be a polished exactly how to do it with never making mistakes. I will not edit out my mistakes. I will show you my mistakes. And I hope that helps. I know in the past with students, seeing me fumble has helped you fumble and get over it and learn new stuff. Anyway, so there we have a simple rectangle drawn. I'm going to make it a bit more complicated. I'm going to put a hole in it. There's a circle. I haven't dimensioned the circle. Maybe I'll just leave that for the moment. And if I, over in the right-hand corner, if I click this, accept, then it zooms back to actually a solid mode and it highlights in yellow kind of something kind of different. Now, there's an arrow stuffed in the middle of that. If I grab that arrow with my index finger, my left mouse, I can actually drag it up and down in height. And what I'm doing is I'm basically extruding apart from that sketch. And I can extrude it to whatever thickness I like. I can extrude it up by 14 millimeters. I can go down by 14 millimeters. So I can do it by dragging. I could also go over here to the window on the left, and I could specify how many millimeters I want. Maybe I want to make that 25. And if I click OK, and I scroll in and out, now you can see I have a gray solid. So there we have it. That's your first part. We're done. You can save that. Save as, give it a new name. Call it block 1. And I'm going to put it in a file folder. I'll just put it on my desktop. There, we're done. Thanks for watching.